In this video, we're going to look at how we can do a time management chart, otherwise known as a Gantt chart, in planning our project. The first thing that we need to do is refer back to our criteria for success and have a look and see what are the different features of a Rube Goldberg machine that we need to achieve. Now, every criteria for success for every project that you do should be listed on the Canvas page, on the main page of the subject, for where it says criteria for success. So if you look at this, this will tell you what you need to do in order to make your project the best that it can possibly be. So if you have a look here, as we unpacked this the other day, we need to make sure that our particular machine is expertly made. We need to make sure that we've got an explanation of the forces in operation. We need to have multiple force types. So that's all within the design of our project. And you can see here where we've actually pulled that apart and we've gone, these are the different types of forces. We need to also look at the energy transfer and have an explanation of the energy transfer in our Rube Goldberg machine. And those things need to be done through a QR code that links to QR codes accurately explain. Well, it doesn't actually say what you need to have here on the QR code. So you might have an explanation. It might be a video of you explaining something. It might be an animation or something like that that shows how those forces and energy are working. When we go to our document that we set up, we've got this template and it says time management Gantt chart. So what we want to do is, first of all, it says look back at the criteria for success. So we need to make a list. Now the first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure this is in order. But it's much easier if you just dump everything that's in your head that you need to do into this list. So first of all, we've got to cut up the pieces of cardboard that are in our Rube Goldberg machine. We know we have to create an explanation of the forces. Let's say we try and do that in a video. We really should probably plan our video first. Oops, I'm going to put first there. In order to plan our video, we might need a script. We might need a storyboard. We'll need to film the video. We'll need to edit the video. We'll need to publish the video. Okay. We'll need to then link to a QR code for the video. Now, as you can see, we've got a lot of lines here. And the more lines that you actually have, the better planned your project will be. So let's think about what we're going to do first. We've got to plan an explanation of the forces. We've got to plan the video, we've got a script, storyboard, film, edit. That's pretty much in order. Now, do we want to cut up the machine's pieces of cardboard first? We need to design our joins between each element. There are some elements we want to 3D print. Of course, we have to create the CAD files for those first, and that's using Tinkercad. Okay, so again, as we're thinking of these, we might go, oh, well, don't forget we've done this, and don't forget we need to do this, and that's okay. Just dump all of that information there to start with. Once you've done that, then let's go back and have a look. Well, we don't really want to do the explanation and the video until after we finished our machine. So let's bring this down here. Okay, oops, it's much easier if we cut and then paste that so it goes nicely into the boxes. Okay, and we're going to move this up to the top. We also might look at this, and we can't really create our CAD files after we 3D print, so let's move that around. So once you've dumped all the things in your head, what you need to do is you need to start moving those things around so that they go in order. Now, let's say, for example, if Miss Miano and Miss Rainema and myself are building a Rube Goldberg machine, we now need to look through this document and we need to allocate who's responsible. Now, I know that I'm awesome at cutting up pieces of cardboard. Okay, so I'm going to put my name in that. I think Mrs. Rainema would be really good in designing joints. Miss Miano is really good with Tinkercad, and I know that I can do the 3D printing. Now, what you'll notice is that this one here, though, I am actually relying on Mrs. Miano to do that project, do that Tinkercad component. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that Miss Miano does that before I do that. So I'm going to just here colour in this square to say that in the next lesson is what Miss Miano is going to be working on. So if you have a look here, this will be the first lesson, the second lesson, the third lesson. So you need to count, first of all, how many lessons you have until the end of the term. So let's say, for example, here, Miss Miano is doing this. What am I doing in this lesson? Well, I can be cutting up. I can be cutting up the components of our Rube Goldberg machine. Miss Rainema might be designing joints. Oops. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm just going and colouring in those things. Okay. Once we've done that, then we need to think about in the next lesson what's going to happen. I'm going to be 3D printing, right? So maybe Miss Miano and Mrs. Rainema might be working on our explanation. So they're going to be working on that together. So what you'll see over time is basically a waterfall of events happening over the next few lessons. But one thing that you've got to just make sure is that, like here, for every lesson, I've got something planned for that person to do. Now, this is a working document, so you're going to spend this lesson planning out exactly what you're going to do. And this is me just thinking for 5 minutes what I'm going to do. You should have all of those things in there. But you should also have other things in there that you need to finish your machine as well. And you need to make sure, again, that everybody has something to do every lesson. You also need to check where some things rely on other things, that you've given time limits for those first things to happen before you go into the second thing. Okay, have a go. What you'll see is that it'll look like this, and then when you finish, I'll give you some feedback so that we can have a look at what we're going to do in successive lessons.